turn on the mic. Good evening, and welcome to the closed session of the Solvang City Council meeting of May 11, 2026. We're beginning at 6:01. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Here.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here.
Thank you.
Would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Face the flag, hand over heart. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you. We will now open it up to public communications on the closed session items, if any. Anyone on Zoom? There's no one in the building. Okay, we will close it to public comments. And Madam Clerk, would you read into the record our discussions?
Thank you. Item 2A, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code 54956.8. Property 478 4th Place, Solvang, California, APN 139173014. Agency negotiator Randy Murphy, City Manager. Negotiating party CRA Solvang, RE LLC. Under negotiation, both price and terms. Item 2B, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property APN 139192024, 425 First Street, Solvang, California, 93463. Agency negotiator Randy Murphy, City Manager. Negotiating party Jameson Elias Holding L Limited. Under negotiation, both price and terms.
Thank you. Okay, we're adjourned to closed session.
thing without testing it. I can't get the links
Okay.
to work. So I'll have to just,
We're
I'll look.
we're
at your-
reconvened from our closed session. Mr. Attorney, do we have any reportable action?
No, Mayor, there's no reportable action from closed session.
Very good. Thank you very much. Then I will close the closed session and the actions thereof at 6:29. And we'll give us 1 minute. We'll start on time at 6:30. Stand by.
We have so many speakers you can introduce in 3 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Solvang City Council meeting of May 11th, 2026. A little housekeeping, please. If you would silence your phones or turn them off, that'd be very appreciated. Nobody likes to be interrupted. And then we're starting at 6:30 this evening. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Here?
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Dennis Beebe, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, sir. Everyone, please stand and face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart or salute and recite this prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay. Go to the next page. Okay, I have the privilege today of a proclamation. The proclamation is an appreciation of National Public Works Week, May 17th to the 23rd, 2026. And their tagline here is rooted in service and powered by community. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Solvang. And whereas these infrastructure facilities and services could not be provided without dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of Solvang to gain knowledge and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas this year, 2026, marks the 66th Annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor David Brown, along with the City Council of the City of Solvang, California, do hereby proclaim May 17th to May 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week, and urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contribution they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advanced quality of life for all. In witness thereof, I have unto set my hand and cause the official seal of the city of Solvang, California to be affixed to this 11th day of May 2026. Congratulations to the Public Works Department and all those that help in that endeavor. Who's here today? Is it Bridget? Are you here? Would all our Public Works people please stand and be acknowledged?
Well done, guys.
How do I turn this one on? Oh, it's just automatically on. I just wanted to mention the folks that were here today, Jonathan Flynn, Keith Coates, Daniel Overson, and Christian Wright. And those are just 4 of the members of our Public Works team here. Magdalena Lopez was not here, and Cesar Tapia was not here. But in addition to those folks, we also have water and wastewater divisions in the city, and I just want to say how grateful we are to the City Council and to the community for the opportunity to serve you guys. Public Works is a really cool job. Yeah, you know, it's neat to be part of the community, but to be able to serve in a capacity where you're really a part of building the community as well as just maintaining the infrastructure of the community. It's such a noble and awesome job, and I know that everybody on my team and everybody I talk to in the city are grateful. So, thank you.
Well, it's mutually grateful. Thank you for all you do. Thanks. Okay, we have a presentation from Waste Management. Would you like to go ahead?
So introduce Jessica McGinnis from Waste Management. She's our liaison with the company, and she's here to give a summary of 2025 activities. So take it away, Jessica.
I am. Hi, everyone. For those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting personally, my name is Jessica McGinnis. I'm the Senior Account Executive for Waste Management, and I work very closely with your city staff to make sure that services are being maintained to a high level of efficiency in the city of Solvang. But today I really wanted to give a quick recap of some of our fun things we did in 2025 and talk about some things ahead of us coming up within the next few months. Wanted to meet with you before we got halfway through the 2026. So. All right, do you want to start from the top here? In 2025, we collected about 10.6 million pounds of trash from the city of Solvang. We also did 1.7 million pounds of recycled material and 2 million pounds of organic waste, all within Solvang city limits. And then just a quick overview there, if you could just go back for just a second, Randy. The trash that we collect here in the city of Solvang is brought to Tehigas, which is a county-owned landfill. The recycling goes to Santa Maria Transfer Station, where it's sorted and then distributed based on the recyclable material. And then all of the organic waste that we collect that's strictly organic waste is recycled at Foxen. And just a quick overview of some of the community involvement that Waste Management does here within the city of Solvang. We are involved with the Vikings, the Chamber, the preschool, just about any event that happens within the city of Solvang. You can guarantee Waste Management wants to support the city and make sure that you have the receptacles that you need to accommodate those events. I also work closely with city staff to make sure that when we have events that aren't part of our contractual agreement, that I work with those event planners or organizations to provide them as either donations or in-kind services to make sure they're covered as well. I don't want to keep too much time here, so I'll be quick on the overview here. This was our 2025 end of year flyer that went out to our residential customers. It gives an overview of what to do with your holiday decorations, proper ways of recycling electronic and hazardous waste materials. It gives the upcoming year's service collection schedule, as well as the cleanup dates, how to navigate your accounts online, and then there will be another slide where we talk a little more about the At Your Door program as well. This is the commercial flyer that goes out at the end of each year. So this one briefly talks about how to establish a successful recycling and organics program for the commercial businesses within the city. There's also a quick sorting guide, as you can see, some SB 1383 information, as well as electronic and hazardous waste disposal options. And then our quarterly cleanups have also been a major success. They continue one time each quarter. We send out those cleanup events. We have one coming up this weekend, which is going to be on May 16th. And then we'll have another one in August and November. For folks that are paperless, please keep an eye on your email. We do send out reminders leading up to those events as well to make sure that folks remember to get those on their calendar. And then just talking briefly regarding SB 1383, I frequently do get questions from customers when they may receive notices in the mail about maybe having a contamination or overfilled containers. And I wanted to show you just briefly how we go through that process. So it starts with our waste management smart truck technology. Our trucks are full of cameras at all different angles, which will capture the container before service, during service, and after service. If a customer does overfill their container, or we do see any contaminated materials that shouldn't have gone in there, it's detected first by AI, which is then sent over to our smart truck team, who will review the videos and make sure that they were correct. And then the third step of that process is when we notice customers. So here in Solvang, we do a 2 warning third time charge. So that would mean that the very first 2 notices have no overage or contamination fees whatsoever. They're used as an educational outreach attempt in hoping to educate the customer on what container it should have gone into, or what container was contaminated or overfilled. And you'll get to see that example. Let's see if our video plays here, Randy. Perfect. So this is what the drivers can see inside of their trucks on their monitor. You can see the rear view, the top of the hopper where it's dumped into the truck. You can see the curbside view. You can see the angle from both the side and the hopper. So these are all tools that we use in figuring out if maybe there was a service issue, maybe the containers weren't placed out on time. These are what we see, and we also use these images or videos to notify our customers if something went wrong, or to verify that a service was completed. If you want to hit the next one. So here's an example of a notification. Let's say that a customer had overfilled their container. So as you can see there on the right-hand side, those are examples of overfilled containers where the lids were not completely closed. And then the letter on the left there is an example of what a customer may receive. If they do paperless, they'll receive this via email. If they are printed statements, they'll receive it in the mail, where it'll still have the printed image there at the bottom. And then what is an overage? So we want to make sure that the lids are completely closed on these containers so that we can prevent any littering or spillage while we're servicing on the streets and in the alleyways here in Solvang. And then you also can tell a lot of times that the cardboard may not be completely broken down. And this is a really great example for what we offer here in Solvang for the community to come to the different recycling locations. We have a lot of businesses here in Solvang that are utilizing that service. And if if everyone were to break down those boxes, we could fit a lot more material inside of the bins. And then this is a quick example of some things that print out on our education outreach material. If you visit wm.com to Solvang's homepage, you'll also find these types of sorting guides, which can be very helpful as a reminder on your refrigerator at home or even in a business break room or a sorting area. There's lots of resources at wm.com that anyone can utilize at any time that pertains specifically to the city of Solvang. And then at your door program, this is something that I don't think a lot of our residential customers are fully utilizing. We offer hazardous and electronic waste removal curbside from your home. So although you do have many different drop site locations like Fox and Canyon or Tahigas where you can go on particular days to drop off those materials for free, we also offer this quarterly collection. So if anyone does have any electronic waste or hazardous material, you can see here, visit our www.wmatyourdoor.com and you'll be able to schedule a collection for free. And we'll pick those up for you. And I just want to say thank you all. It's been a pleasure to oversee your services and work directly with Solvang City staff. And if anyone ever has any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you, Jessica. Any questions? I had a quick question.
Yeah.
10 tons of material, how many truckloads does that equal?
So the 10 million, so we do measure standardly in the world of trash, we measure in tons. But for those that aren't used to that sort of math, I broke it down into pounds. So if you have 10 million pounds of material, I can't even estimate how many trucks because there are so many days where the weight could fluctuate. I mean, you have events here in Solvang where you come on a Monday after a holiday weekend and it's going to be a heck of a lot heavier than an off day.
Well,
So-
we just talked about public works. I just want to make sure our roads are adequate to maintain the number of trucks that come through, so.
Yeah, so we do try and fill our trucks to the heaviest capacity as possible so we can get as much collection, which means less wear and tear and less traffic on the street.
Thank you.
Yeah.
10 million pounds, obviously, a standard truck, a semi, can carry 40 tons, which is 80,000 pounds. So if you think about it, it's a lot of truckloads if you divide 10 million by 80,000.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is. Good. Did you adequately share with us what SB 1383 was, or?
Yeah, so SB 1383 has been on the radar for quite a long time. It was part of the reason that the city of Solvang has an exemption because of the low population. We discussed it, I think it was 2 years ago. Quite lengthily, but SB 1383 was the state law that passed in California that prohibits organic waste from going into the solid waste stream, into your trash. So the idea was to divert that type of material from the landfills to cut down on greenhouse gases. And the city of Solvang is currently exempt from SB 1383 laws because you do have the exemption waiver for low population, which means that city of Solvang residents and commercial businesses, if they were to put organic materials into their trash, that there is no penalty for that. Of course, in the long haul of things, the long-term goal is to divert organic material so that it can be composted and do what SB 1383 is meant to do. But at this time, the city of Solvang is still exempted.
Okay.
The reason for that is organic contributes, or when it decomposes, it creates methane. So it's an attempt to keep methane production out of the landfills.
Got it. And then finally, I wanted to acknowledge Waste Management. Last December, they were recognized by the Chamber of Commerce as one of the best operators in the city, I think it was.
Yeah, we got Large Business of the Year for
Large
Santa
Business of the
Ynez Solvang Chamber, which is such an honor. I got to be the person to accept that award, and We try and stay as active and involved as possible in the communities that we serve. And so part of my close working relationship with the chamber is trying to attend Music in the Parks, be a financial supporter, and being in one of the highest tier member levelships with the chamber. And being part of that chamber keeps us involved with the city. And it's such a valuable relationship. So it was an honor. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
I wanted to make one other comment. She talked about overages. That's a problem. One of the things the city's looking into is possibly doing a mandatory collection. Do you have right now, if you self-haul, you're not required to have waste management service. But we have a lot of businesses and individuals that don't live in the city that come into town and put their trash in dumpsters around the city, in the downtown trash receptacles, and it's a major problem. I just got an email today, or Friday actually, from a owner of one of the apartment buildings that's constantly getting overage charges from Waste Management because people are dumping the trash in their dumpster out behind Valley Fresh, I think it was.
Yeah.
They had dumpsters out there where people were putting their trash in there. That technically that's illegal dumping because it's not your trash receptacle. So we're looking at options, and hopefully this stops. But because it's not fair to the business owner, or in some cases the city, to have to pay for somebody else's trash.
Right.
Yeah, and Randy, I will work directly with the business owner who reached out, and we can make sure to figure out what's going on and come up with a solution. And just for anyone, whoever does have concerns about their services, commercial or residential, if you feel that you're being a victim of illegal dumping and you have folks that maybe don't live in this community who are taking advantage of your service or coming by and dumping things in where they don't belong, please reach out. City staff will direct you to me so I can help resolve these issues and come up with solutions to prevent it from happening.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay. We're going to move on to public communications for non-agenda items. Would you read that into the record, please?
At this time, you may address the council on items not on the agenda and on consent. At this moment, time limit is 3 minutes, and we will start with in-person public comments first.
Okay. We're going to, yeah, she said 3 minutes. It's actually going to be 2. And if somebody says something that you agree to, it's okay just to say ditto. So we don't need duplicity if somebody's made the comment or the remark that you have on your agenda. So we're going to start with Mr. George Fleming, and he's going to be followed by Rob Kennedy.
Good evening, council, mayor, members of the city council. Elizabeth, you're our rep. Welcome. My name's George Fleming. I've lived in Solvang for 10 years, Rancho San Ynez Estates down at the end of Fjord. And I'm speaking about my and others' concerns regarding the proposed Glenway Apartments high-density development at the intersection of Alisal Road, Fjord Drive, the Glenway, bordering the Alisal Glen neighborhood. I'm not only representing my own opinions tonight, but also those of our president of the Resident Association, Denise Rose, who is also, and the concerns of many of our association members. At our Resident Association meeting recently, when the topic was brought up, everyone in attendance expressed their concerns and objections to many aspects of this proposed development. While most of us support thoughtful planned housing development in appropriate locations, our concern about the project includes the following detrimental impacts. Size and scope of the preliminary plans. This project's size and design is inconsistent with the long existing neighborhoods in the Alisal Glen and down along Fjord Drive. Many homes were built in the early 70s. It would also destroy one of the last existing open spaces in Solvang. Many residents along Glen Way have beautiful views that are going to be wiped out in one fell swoop. Traffic and pedestrian impact. Though there is not enough parking spaces in proposed plan for the number of residents that will be residing there, this will require on-street parking, mainly along.
Thank you, George. With so many people, I'd like everybody to get a chance.
Okay.
Thank you. Next is Rob Kennedy. It's your time. If we can be here all night if you want, but we'll let if there's time afterwards, we'll bring you back up. Would that be all right?
Sounds like everyone's ditto.
Okay.
Thank you, Council,
That's fine.
for allowing us to talk tonight. And my name is Rob Kennedy. I've lived in Alisal Commons area for 29 years and love it. And the change that I heard about a couple years ago brought me to the meeting, which I discussed my disappointment that how our neighborhood was communicated about the rezoning. There was a sign on the corner of Glenway and Juniper about this size on the corner announcing the rezoning and the meeting that was coming up. And I talked to several of my people in the neighborhood, didn't even know about that taking place. And tonight we have more people here because the word got out a little bit more. But my main concern is where we live is it's not extremely high density, but it will now. And if there was an emergency in our neighborhood to get out at a safe speed and being only really one way out Alisal Road because Nahoe, half of the year it is closed. And then the residents from the mobile home park who go down Fjord, most of them turn on Glen Way to go out Juniper because of the visibility on Fjord and Alisal from the bridge. That traffic moves so fast that they avoid that. So many of them do. You could go down in the Greenbelt every day and see how many cars do that. It's amazing, but they're doing it for their safety, which I don't blame them. Safety is the most important thing. I have 2 young kids that play basketball all the time, and I am worried about the ball going in the street, excess of traffic, and so far, it's not bad, but when we get 88 new units and people parked all over the place, there is a big concern for us in our neighborhood. So,
Thank you.
I'll take that.
Okay. I thought you'd save that for when you come up to speak, but that's okay. If it's a group endeavor here, okay, I'm all right with that. Next is, it looks like Jan Paul, and after that is Ray Schmider.
My name is Jan Paul. I live in Alisal Glen, and it's already ditto. I want to express my opposition. I'm going to read this because of my 2 minutes. I want to express my opposition to the proposed apartment development in our neighborhood of Alisal Glen and the surrounding area. I understand Solvang needs to meet a housing requirement. However, I feel this project would have detrimental impact on our neighborhood and the community. First of all, the project is simply too large for our area, and the increased population density would put an added strain on our already overburdened infrastructure, leading to increased traffic flow on Alisal Road and the surrounding streets. The type of housing being proposed is simply not in keeping with the character of our neighborhood, which includes the homes on Fjord in the cul-de-sacs as well as the mobile home estates on the end of Fjord. The increased number of tenants would lead to other negative social effects. It would also drastically alter the aesthetic of our area, which replacing the open area and view with high-rise 3-story 88-unit apartments complex with 138 parking spaces, with that being the view of some of our neighbors. Their privacy also would be compromised. The addition of more cars will likely overflow on our streets, which would burden through the current residents, as this is certain events in Solvang already show that sometimes visitors have to park all the way down Alisal Road. Concluding, I strongly urge you to reconsider the proposed apartment development sandwiched between our golf course and a single-family community. While I recognize the need for affordable housing, this project is simply not the right fit for our neighborhood and will greatly change our demographic and our value of our property. And as an original owner, it was enticing that area was designated as a park. Thank you.
Thank you. Jay? I'm sorry, Ray.
It's Schmitter, yeah.
Ray Schmitter, thank you.
Yeah, I lived down in the Glen, 40 years. Real quick, ditto on most of that stuff. Part of the problem I have is that your own city map shows it's a fire zone down in that area too. So I want to submit that to, we can take a look at it there, where it's located at, perhaps, so it doesn't, as for the Environmental Act, it doesn't qualify for exemption on it. All right? Problem is, and I had all I think is, there's no facilities down there for food or anything like that. No stores, no nothing. They have to go through Solvang to go to any store. So whoever goes and lives in that 88 complex will be driving. There's average 2 cars plus for every family, not counting teenagers. So 138 spaces is what they said. 138, you double 88, you know where you're at in that. So other than that, I'm just saying safety-wise, I'm old. I'm 75 now, but there are older people in the mobile park home. So there's a lot of aged people that drive through there all the time, and I just think it's going to be too confusing and too much traffic. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. Barbara Montgomery, followed by Jim Flam.
Hi, I'm Barbara Montgomery, and this is regarding the proposed 3-story apartment buildings going in opposite the golf course on Alisol. I live on one of the corner houses on Juniper and Glen Way, and during the week I see between 100 walkers and runners going down and enjoying that environment. And then the other thing to mention is there are 3 of the hugest owls I've ever seen in my life. I believe they're called horn-rimmed owls or horned owls, and that's their habitat. I hear them every night, almost every single night. Those fields are their hunting grounds. I'd like to find out if they're on protected species list, and if so, that's another reason why there should be no development there. Also, I'd like to also call in one of the Chumash archaeologists, because we have found in the dirt on the side of those fenced-in properties arrowheads. So it can also be a cultural issue. So somebody needs to draw that attention to it. And then also, if it is under eminent domain that you guys are doing this, I think something could be done about that, especially with who we elect as our governor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jim Flam, followed by
Council,
Michelle
everybody.
Bishkoff.
Everybody has covered things that should be spoken about in terms of infrastructure and safety and just killing it for the people that live there if this thing does go through. I wasn't aware of this. I've been in Solvang since 2011. The reason I'm here is that from 2008 to about 2011, I had a little ad agency in Santa Barbara. I was hired by the city of Solvang and the Convention and Visitors Bureau to help bring tourist and tourism dollars, sorry about that, into town. And my first meeting here with Tracy Farhard, who was my client directly at the time, she said, well, let's take a walk around Copenhagen and in the town. I said, you know, Tracy, I've done that many, many times, you know, just as a tourist coming up from Santa Barbara. She thought for a minute, and there were a couple of aides that she had with us. And she said, well, let's take a little walk. And we walked down from the center of Solvang, down Alisol Road, and down to about that entry road to the Alisol River course. And we stopped at, I guess it would be the eastern end of what is the proposed development area. And she said, take a look. And I took a look. I grew up in Queens, New York, in concrete. And I was looking and I was bubbling over, never thinking I was going to be living in Alisol Commons or Glens or whatever it's called. I'm on Manzanita Drive. And the pride that people have in the area, the way it is used to enjoy the spectacular historic views of the Santa Ynez Mountains, the little bridge that leads into Alisal, all of that that is relative to what the rest of the world has to deal with. It's God's country. It's perhaps Eden. There are many places in the valley that are probably even more spectacular, but this is an area that please don't let the people, the developers, the banks rule this one. Let's be sensible.
Thank you. Michelle? How do I pronounce your last name? Michelle?
Bischoff,
Bischoff. Thank you.
not like the cookie. So I'm glad I got to see everyone here tonight. I was nervous about coming tonight, not sure if people would be here. So I'm really glad to see everyone here. But the main thing, one of the few things, is transparency. When it was brought up that this was going to be rezoned, there were nothing that got notified to the homeowners. I never got notified. After I sent a letter to the county office, I did see these green little things posted that were tiny in the corner, so very much not wanting to be seen. Green within green vegetation is not calling attention to anything. And if we can't have transparency on a project like this, how are we going to have transparency and trust you guys to do the right thing for our community? And I think we need a good foundation before we move forward on anything. We have a project that isn't finished up on the corner of Alisal and 246. We have a project that's not finished on 5th Street and the 246. We can't absorb the traffic that comes in. There should be a turn signal on 5th Street and 246. So unless you can have foundational stuff that makes our city move freely, safely, we can't trust you to do these sorts of projects. I don't want this sort of project to disrupt anything in my neighborhood. My husband has PTSD. We moved up here because it has the openness and serenity, and that's going to be wiped out if a project of this magnitude gets put there. We live there. I don't know if any of you guys live there, and I think if you did, you would not want to be living next to this thing. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. George, if you'd like to come back. George, if you'd like to come back and finish.
Okay, let me finish up here. 1, 2, 3. At least 3 bullets here. Traffic and pedestrian impact. We've already talked about that. Okay, there's going to be a ton of traffic in that corner. They're all going to be utilizing entrances and exits from Glen Way. That isn't going to work there. You're going to probably have to end up putting a traffic light somewhere up Alisal, which there's already 2 or 3 stop signs before you get to 246. So that's going to be a pain. It will impact egress and ingress to vehicles as well as pedestrian safety. Fire services could become a nightmare. And not to mention parking up and down Alisal. That's, not only will they park on Glen Way, which is a small little side street, it's going to be like, one of those things where we have a big hoop-de-doo in Solvang and they're parking all the way down almost to the golf course. Environmental impacts will affect the property to be developed. Nearby sensitive ecosystems in the San Ynez River, which was discussed about the owls and stuff, which is steps away from the development footprint. Overburdened infrastructure. Solvang already has a city population and tourism pressure on its water delivery and sewer treatment facility, and this large development will exacerbate the existing infrastructure pressures. In conclusion, we respect and urge you to reconsider this housing development, which is not a right fit for our neighborhood.
Thank you, George.
Extra minute.
Thank you. Do we have anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak on this? Okay. That's all the slips I have. Is there anybody else that wanted to say something on this, this is, okay, non-agenda items? Yes, sir. And your name, please?
My name is Joe Jolliffe. I'm also live in the Alisal Glen area. Ditto to what everybody else had said. But especially looking at the plans, something that concerns me with it being 3 stories tall is living on First Street. It looks like that there's vantage points right into the backyards and right into the homes of the people on First Street, and it doesn't seem like it's an appropriate size for our small community. So strongly encourage the City Council to reconsider this and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, this gentleman wanted to come up. Please state your name.
My name's Phil O'Neill. Thank you, Mayor Brown and Council, for allowing us to talk. I knew tonight this was not on the agenda, so I wasn't planning on anything to speak about this. I echo everything that's been said, but I want to reiterate the whole transparency thing. We need to be notified of what's going on so we can have a say, we can hear, we can talk, and have dialogue. So that's pretty much the main thing that kind of bugs me about most of this. I'm a pro-development person. I'm in construction, so I'm not anti-building something if you want to put something there, but this is just not right. So please communicate to us. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see someone in the back has their hand up. This is for items 3 on the agenda, public communications, for non-agenda items.
Hi, I live in the community also, and thank you for letting me speak. I'm really very concerned.
I'm sorry. Please state your name.
Oh, my name is Susan Otten, O-T-T-E-N. I'm very concerned about fire and the lack of infrastructure to accommodate people. If there were a fire and we had to evacuate, there would be no way out, because if you have people going even down Alisal, either direction, you would have to sit in a line and wait to cross the freeway if you're going, past Alisal Ranch. So I'm just really scared about the lack of planning. I would hope that there would be some sort of exit plan made. That's all I really wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I apologize. I've just got some more slips. So those of you that thought you didn't send it, I just got some more. Next is Cynthia Joyner, followed by Dennis Beebe.
Good evening. Thanks for letting us all speak. Everything that they've said, I agree with totally. The one thing that they are talking about is the traffic down there, but there's also the traffic that's going to flow onto 246. Since Solvang has made December the happiest place on earth, that is going to affect everyone. It is so difficult at this point to get from this end of town to the other end of town, even with your crosswalk people that you have set up, which also is another problem. It's not fair. And I just wish you guys would ask yourself, what do you love about here? What do you, ask your own individual selves, why are you here? Why do you live here? And I think a lot of us live here because it's such a beautiful place to live, and we love it the way it is. And if there's some way that we can, before we get to this point, really get together and talk about how we can handle this better, I think you're going to end up with all of these people I think are here for the same reason, because they love it here. Yeah. And they don't want all of this to be happening. That community down there is such a neat such a neat community. I don't live down there anymore. My children live down there, and my grandchildren, and they moved up here from Santa Barbara into an existing house, not one that was built, that's been there for I don't know how long, and they love it here. Let's keep it like that. Let's keep it. And if you ask people why did they move here, it's like, because it's small town. Well, okay, because I love where my kids are gonna grow up. Why? Why do you love that? Yeah. Let us keep what we have. Buellton didn't let people keep what they had. Let us keep what we have. And Randy, thank you for talking to me the other day.
Thank you. Dennis Beebe.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm the only one here probably that's not going to talk on the Alice L. Glen Apartments, so I'd like to contribute my time to those that want to.
Oh, thank you. Phil O'Neill, you're good. Okay. Denise Alamine, followed by Joe Joffer. Okay, thank you, Denise.
Hi, my name is Denise Elamine, and I live in Skip Mesa, but I'm ditto with all of you people because during Christmas time, it is the happiest place for tourists. It is not. It's a very sad place for residents. And I think that we should take residents into consideration because just making money, how much money do you need? And we need peace. I moved here because I like a small town and I like peace and I like to come out to the main street and be able to turn without waiting 30 minutes. So I'm here today and I agree and I am so glad and I welcome you guys because most of the time the city council says nobody complains. That's their main thing to tell me. You're the only one who complains, Denise. Nobody else complains. So I appreciate you guys letting them know that more people complain. And yes, it needs to be more transparency. Where I live and what I come to talk about is on an agenda, but it's so small, it's at the bottom, I really can't understand. I really have to come to this building 2 and 3 times a week just to get information that I need. That should be transparent and large. When you're running for city council and mayor, you make large campaigns. I saw your picture way at the front when I came in, blown up. Why can't we do that when we're gonna make a change and bring more traffic in for the residents? Let's be consistent. Let's be consistent. Let's be consistent here. That's all I'm asking is for some consistency. Okay? And thank you guys again. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If there's nothing else, I have no more slips. Is there somebody else that felt strongly it needed to say something that hasn't been said already? Yeah, I want, if you have something new to add, please step up. Please share with us your name and.
Shorty. Patricia Rainwater, and I recently moved here from Los Angeles, so I can empathize and I am comrade with my team here about peace and beauty. And it's really hard because we invested pretty much our retirement into building and beautifying a 1952-year-old house. So with all the concerns with putting a building there, we won't be able to have the same views. Environmentally, I think there needs to be some checks. I was here previously for some other meetings, and the notifications, as well as, there was a misstep in timing with the government, with the state government, and having to put that building there, where we missed some months, and then we were rushing through trying, saying this is the land that we're going to use for this low income. And so I think we are kind of victims, right, of missteps and miscommunication from the city of Solvang. So I stand with our city. I love this place. Like, I can't tell you, I never want to go anywhere. I don't want to leave, but it's creating a lot of traffic. It's a safety hazard. As Susan was saying, if there's a fire, how are we going to get out of here? So I don't know if that has been studied well enough to actually say, okay, we're going to put 88 apartments and hundreds of people here. And there's walkers, there's elderly, there's a lot of things that I think the city needs to take into consideration still before they actually take that next step. But I love it here. It is Eden. I don't ever want to leave. I love this town, so please take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to close public communications right now, if there's nothing else. Thank you very much. We have one more. Oh, you've spoken already. Okay. Thank you. And now we're moving on to the city manager's report. Wait, excuse, did we miss anybody on Zoom?
No.
Okay.
The only thing I had to say, Jessica already commented about the special cleanup day this Saturday over here at Lot 5, adjacent to City Hall. And in respect of all of our time, and this meeting is going to be a little longer, so I'll save my comments for another day.
Okay. Any questions of the city manager? Well, why don't we wait until the block party?
We just ask you guys, if you guys leave this out of town, to be considerate, please, of everybody. Because if you guys don't live outside of this town, or if you guys live on the other side, then you guys don't care.
Okay. Would you be kind enough to shut the door so we don't get the noise from the hall? Thank you. Okay. Any questions for the city manager or his report? Okay. Getting off easy. All right. Next item is item 5. Would you read that into the record, please?
Government Code Section 53232.3D, AKA AB 1234, and Government Code Section 84308, AKA SB 1439, report out. Ex parte communications, council comments, requests.
Thank you. Who would like to start? Anybody? Mr. Afonte, go ahead.
Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, I have attended the Friends of the Library meeting, the group that is trying to support everything that the library needs. Excuse me. Other than that, there was a couple of concerts and things that went on and fundraisers that worked out really well. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Rona.
Alrighty. So me and my staff collaborated with Visit California. They are doing a campaign about all the wonderful places in California that you can visit while you are enjoying some of the playoffs for the Soccer World Cup. And Solvang is in the map. They love to see some horses and ride a monkey and have some of the fabulous food. So, yeah, thank you to Visit California for picking us as a possible destination for it. We're not the only ones. They're showcasing all of our beautiful state. But
World Cup?
World Cup, yeah.
And then the Olympics to follow that?
Oh, we haven't even started talking about the Olympics.
Okay. Anybody? Mr. Rona.
I have just one thing to report. I was just kind of preparing for and attended one meeting in anticipation of the efforts in the ad hoc committee for the joint use agreement for the aquatics facility with the high school. And I did just want to comment. Yeah, always so many things that go on. We can't list them all out. I did just want to comment on, I think I am the one council member that lives south of Mission. And I do share a lot of the sentiment about concern over traffic, parking, loss of open space, that the community just voiced. It's a big concern, and we don't have, there is a element of safety concern already turning left onto Alisal Road from that neighborhood, and single choke points for getting to Mission. It's difficult. And so these are things that there is a high level of consciousness. There's even some consciousness that we don't have a Valley Transit stop south of Mission. So there's some areas of improvement, but I did want to emphasize there are very, very few things that the council and the city have been we've been given an extremely narrow envelope of decision-making. In fact, we've been really guided to enable development in the community as a function of the housing crisis in the city and across the state. So things like traffic, parking, infrastructure, evacuation plans were explicitly removed from our decision-making process when we had to finalize the housing element plan. So they were conditions that we could not consider when we had to rezone and identify the open space. So not pushing back. I share the sentiment. I just am trying to inform these were the conditions that we had to operate within. And I'm very concerned, the evacuation plans, when we have a safety issue, very concerned about the high risk classification we've just received in the southern part of Solvang. These are things that we operationalize, but the county is responsible for those defining and orchestrating the evacuation routes, and we implement those plans. But all of that is on our radars, and we have to think about that, but in the context of we need more housing. I know for sure Alisal Guest Ranch needs workforce housing, and we just don't have a lot of space in the city. And so I'll just put one more comment out there, which is why we are serious about expanding the boundary of the city of Solvang and moving towards a bigger dialogue on the urban growth boundary discussion. And I would encourage the public to attend those workshops and the meetings that are scheduled for the rest of the spring.
If I may add one more thing to that, Mr. Mayor, excuse me. One of the things that everybody said was an evacuation route. When I first started running for the council 5-6 years ago, Matt Vanderlinden was here, and he had proposed an evacuation route that took Fjord Road all the way out to Mission. So it went by the lumberyard and everything. Would have been a perfect evacuation route. Many of the people that were here complaining about traffic and no evacuation were ones that I saw that said, we don't want to extend Fjord Road. So there's a little bit of a change of ideas.
Thank you.
I just, look, we're smarter together when we listen to all the ideas, but I think what I want to make sure is communicated is that we're taking all of that in. We have limited decision-making, but those issues are very real, and we have to take them into consideration.
Ms. Smith?
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you to everybody that spoke tonight. We really love to hear from everybody because we do love this town. That is why we are here. And to sort of just bounce off of what Councilmember Arona said is that we are limited in some of the things that we can do, but we are looking at all of this because we do care. We understand fire hazards. We want, evacuation routes. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. But I just really love the fact that everybody comes out and supports the community and lets us know what you think, because that's what we need to hear from you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry. It's closed, yes, public comment.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that, yes, we appreciate the comments and input that you come over here, but I would encourage everybody to please don't just toss the piece of paper that comes with your water bill. I know a lot of this stuff is very dense and cryptic, and it seems uninteresting, but every time we publish the agenda, you can see what we're discussing. Every time that we have a public workshop, we have an opportunity to not only hear you, but also shape the conversation. Earlier in the year, we had the council goal setting session, which we're discussing tonight. That's another great opportunity to see how we are trying to address all of these issues that we have. We have finance workshops. There's a lot of opportunity to really get deep into what the city is trying to accomplish and make sure that those goals reflect what you like to see. So I know that everybody has a lot of things going on, but I would encourage you to please come to the workshops. Please read what we're posting. Please read your city notices. And we'd love to come see you more often and be part of the conversation, which not only involves the city, but also things that happen at the county level and also at the state level. A lot of the things that the guidelines that we have to work with come from Sacramento. It's not just us trying to shape the city. So there's many, many opportunities to, be part of the discussion so that we can shape our city together.
Thank you. And I'll say ditto on a couple of things here as well. But please, if you have something more that you'd like to add, please email us. Let us know. We do read those emails and communications. So I'd be happy to do that. A little bit of I was at had a Zoom meeting with the APCD, Air Pollution Control District, talking about budgets on the 29th. Attended the Vistadores Parade on Saturday the 2nd. Also went to St. Mark's Classic event that they had with a lot of Solvang residents. Went to Lulu's birthday on the 3rd. Lulu is our troll, our resident troll, the Thomas Dambo troll. It's the key features about it. It's made out of all recycled material, and it's the only indoor troll that they have. All the others are outdoor, I take it. I had luncheon with Shelby Sims of Visit SYV, talking about current trends and what's going on with visitors. Attended a realtors meeting on the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, where Mr. St. George was a guest speaker, and Mr. Josh Richmond was scheduled to speak but was not there. And we learned more about his endeavors in the community. Went to visit the Rancho Vistadores on the 5th, again, Taco Tuesday, if you will, or Cinco de Mayo. And then got a lot of nice positive feedback from the marathon. Thank you to Jenny and her team. Very much appreciate that. And then also a great job with the parade on the Vistadores. And then finally, our associate council member, Claudia Rona, is our 3CE delegate and representative. And while I can't go to the grand opening facilities that they have in Santa Barbara on the 18th, she's told me that she'll be there. So we'll be well represented. And that's all I had. Did you have a question, Mr. Manager? You sure? Okay. We're going to move on to item 6, consent items. Would you read that into the record, please, Madam Clerk?
Consent is for routine administrative city matters and is approved with one motion. These items are discussed only on request of council members. Members of the public were afforded an opportunity to speak during the public communications portion of this agenda.
Thank you. Anybody have any concerns, or I'd entertain a motion to accept the consent?
I'll make a motion to accept and approve the consent items 6A through 6H.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve consent items A through H. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Rona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. There are no public hearings, so we'll be moving on to item 8, our discussion items. Item 8A, would you read that into the record, please?
Discussion and possible action to adopt Resolution 261316, initiating intention of the annual assessment for Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 2004-1 for fiscal year 26-27, and setting June 8th, 2026 as the date for the public hearing.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
Good evening, council. Tonight we will have Anthony Hernandez, who is with Francisco and Associates, doing the presentation for the engineering report, and he is online to present that to us. Which phone number? The 352.
Good evening, everyone.
There we go. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Good evening, city staff and city council. My name is Anthony Hernandez, and I'm with Francisco and Associates. We're a consultant for the city of Solvang, and we assist the city with the annual administration of the Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District, which is what the agenda item is that we're discussing tonight. And I have just a brief presentation I wanted to present to you guys. So the Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District, number 2004-1, which I'll refer to as the district going forward, was formed in 2004 under the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972. The district was established to fund the maintenance of landscaping and lighting improvements associated with the Skeet Mesa subdivision. The Landscape and Lighting Act sets forth specific requirements for the annual approval of the district assessment, including the preparation of an engineer's report through a two-step city council meeting process. Tonight is the first step, where city council is being asked to adopt a resolution initiating the annual assessment renewal process, declaring its intention to levy assessments, preliminary approve the fiscal year 26-27 engineer's report, and set June 8th, 2026 as the date and time for the required public hearing. And the second required action item is where it's going to be on June 8th, 2026, where city staff will recommend that city council approve the engineer's report, the final engineer's report, and hold a public hearing. Additionally, staff is aware of Assembly Bill 1572 related to non-functional turf and drought-tolerant landscaping requirements. In response, the city requested a preliminary estimate from the district's landscape contractor, Brightview, to evaluate the potential cost of converting approximately 65,000 square feet of turf to drought-tolerant landscaping. The estimated cost was about $860,000. Following additional review, city legal counsel determined that AB 1572 does not currently apply to landscape and lighting maintenance districts, such as this district. However, staff will continue monitoring future legislative changes that could impact the district and may evaluate conversion options further if supported by property owners and directed by the city council. In addition to all of that, and in addition to the routine maintenance activities, the city has identified several sidewalk and street edge areas within the Skeet Mesa development that require repair, including portions of the entry corridors. To help clarify maintenance responsibilities, the city distributed informational materials last week, including mailers, newsletters, and social media outreach. Under the Solvang Municipal Code and the Skeet Mesa CCNRs, adjacent property owners are responsible for maintaining sidewalks and related frontage improvements adjoining their property. Where city-maintained streets are contributing to sidewalk damage, the city may assist with root pruning or tree removal prior to the repairs. The district is eligible to fund repairs within certain entry corridors and street edge areas identified in the district maintenance map, which is, I believe, attachment C on this agenda item. And the estimated cost of that construction is about $200,000. This work is anticipated to be performed during fiscal year 26-27, which is shown in the budget table within the engineer's report. Since formation of this district, the city has maintained a reserve target equal to approximately 25% of estimated infrastructure replacement cost. Staff anticipates reassessing district infrastructure inventory and replacement values in the future to ensure reserve levels remain appropriate for long-term maintenance obligations. If that analysis determines that higher reserve levels are warranted, future annual assessments may be adjusted as necessary to maintain the long-term financial stability of the district. For fiscal year 26-27, City staff is recommending a 3% assessment increase to help offset rising utility costs and maintain healthy reserves. This would result in an annual assessment of $1,472.54 per parcel, which remains well below the maximum allowable assessment of $3,772.70. So tonight, staff recommends that City Council adopt the resolution of intention, preliminary approve the engineer's report, and set June 8th, 2026 for the required public hearing. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Any questions of council? Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the gentleman's name?
Anthony.
Anthony. Anthony, thank you. Anthony, can I ask a question on what is the procedure? What's the process that we go through to identify and classify the repairs that make them a requirement to take action? How do as opposed to just sort of doing a walk through and seeing a crack in a sidewalk? How do we classify the requirement?
That's a good question. Bridget, okay. Thank you, Bridget.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I could take that question. So currently, it was just a visual inspection that we did on site, and we used the CJPIA criteria for inspections of our sidewalk.
So can you just double click on what that means? I'm not sure I know.
It's usually related to the difference in grade elevation between 2 points. So
It becomes a safety concern or a risk concern.
Yes, as well as, a gap.
It is a walking sidewalk. These are walking sidewalks. Okay.
Correct.
And at what point do we do, I know it's a net zero sum question, but at what point do we determine that work would come from the capital reserves versus needing incremental budget?
So for these areas that were identified, they're specifically the LLMD maintained areas. There are additional areas within Skip Mesa and other areas in the city that are, per our city code, are required to be maintained by the property owners themselves. So a lot of people don't probably realize this, but in front of their house, the frontage, the sidewalk, those improvements are ultimately their responsibility to address and take care of. Now, what we do try and do, and this was really kind of started more so with Roger Olds, the previous Public Works Director, it is our plan that within our pavement management program that we are going in early to locations where we're doing road rehab and trying to address some of those neighborhood by neighborhood as we can. But for immediate repairs, it's the property owner until we get to that part in our cycle. Does that make sense?
It does. I understood everything you just said, but I don't think it answered my question. I'm going to ask it differently. And under what conditions do we use the reserve, the 25% reserve budget?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so the 25% reserve is basically it's just a cushion that we would use to replace the infrastructure itself. So if the backflow preventer,
Okay, I'm just going to ask my question really pointedly. Can we use the reserve for the $200,000 repair?
Yes.
And not increase or shrink the amount of increase that we are burdening the tax
yes, and
increase.
that's what we actually did.
Okay,
here.
that
So
was not clear in the report.
Okay.
Okay, 'cause I think what was clear is that we could increase to a much greater degree, but we are not. But it wasn't clear. It felt I interpreted as we needed to. That part of what was driving the increase was the $200,000 need for repairs.
If you see the red number there, the decrease, that's,
Right.
we're decreasing the reserve by that amount. We could have built it into the operational budget, but the decision was made, we had adequate reserves, so that we determined that we would use the reserves, and then further, we did not include the reserve in the recommended operating reserve. Typically, that would be included, that would have been increased that amount.
Okay. and-
So we kept it as low as we could.
So that decrease is equivalent? Is it meant to offset the repair requirement?
It's,
Or near exactly?
yes, essentially,
Okay.
yes.
And then, does that mean that we're at the end of this year's cycle, will we still have 25%?
Yes.
On reserve?
And that was the primary concern. Now, there is a caveat that the estimate of value of all of the assets, LMD assets, that amount is several years old, so that needs to be updated based on current valuation. And so there's a good chance in the not too distant future that 25% reserve will be greater than the current amount of 249,000 or thereabouts is what 25% of the current valuation is. So that's based on a valuation of just under $1 million. And so one of the things we discussed is, reevaluating the current asset amount.
Thank you.
You reevaluated that on price or current book value? Replacement or book value?
Replacement value, yes.
Okay.
And as Anthony pointed out, currently AB 1872 does not explicitly state LOMDs as a required to be compliant with that law. I think it was an oversight of the state legislature because HOAs and cities and all the other public entities essentially are required to not use potable water on what they call non-functional turf. And that whole parkway, the first couple of phases in Skip Mesa is non-functional turf. And I think at some point, somebody in the legislature is going to realize that was an oversight. So I would expect in the next few years, probably somebody to go, hey, by the way, LMDs need to comply as well.
Well taken. And then with irrigation at 91,000, your payback's not that, your return on investment's not so bad. If you can minimize that irrigation cost as well. I assume that's for water?
Yes.
Okay.
So 91,000 is what they current cost for irrigation. That's.
Thank you.
But you're saying that's potable water?
Yes. We currently don't have any recycled water, nor do we have an infrastructure that would allow us to distribute it if we did, in fact, create recycled water.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be more expensive because you'd have to treat water in order to reuse it? So between the treatment and the redistribution, it would actually be more expensive.
Well, if you recall that when the original design of the wastewater treatment plant remodel was $4 million to do recycled water, but that didn't get it out into the city. That just created the process.
Yeah. Okay, if there's anything else on the dais, we'll open it up to public communication. And I have Cynthia Joyner, and she can be followed by Carla Colton.
My name's Cynthia Joyner. I live at 629 Valley Oak Road in Skip Mesa. And first of all, I would like to thank Denise for representing at the last meeting. I actually walk up in Skip Mesa every single morning, and I'm able to look at all the landscape. And I'm glad that she's been here to represent those of us that have concerns, and there's quite a few. So I recently noticed that the weeding in our area is just out of control, and it has been for a while. I contacted Johnny Flynn, and he was very helpful. He offered to come out and talk to a few of us, and so we could show him exactly what we were talking about. Agreed with us what the problem was, and did get Brightview out there to start work. However, they were slow in coming, and we shouldn't have to hound them for what we're paying. And I know it's hard work. I've seen those guys working, and I thank them for doing what they're doing. I'm not in any way, want them to think less of any way of them. But the work's just not getting done. The parkways are a mess. The weeds are crazy bad, and it's for a long period of time. And then the mulch or bark or whatever you want to call it, I don't know how often they're supposed to replace that, but it is not getting replaced very often. Since this has been on the agenda, I will say they have moved very fast to get a lot of things done on our street. But there's still streets that just aren't getting the work done. So having a hard time seeing how we pay more money when the job is not getting done. That's just, I think it's hard for residents to see that. I did talk to Brightview also, and Brightview told me that after hounding them a week straight and saying, when are you going to show up on our street, because I was told you were going to be here, said, well, their guys showed up on our street. And I said, do you need to come look at our street? And he goes, well, they sent me pictures. And I said, well, I can send you pictures right now, and I can show you that somebody's taken pictures somewhere else and it's not on our street. So it would be nice if the residents up there could maybe meet quarterly with city and Brightview to maybe all of us get on the same track so that we can see things happening maybe at a better rate than what it's happening, because it's really slow, before everybody gets mad. And I know the irrigation is a problem. I think one of our neighbors has been going and fixing it down our street, all the water that's being, so it's something that needs to get looked into.
Thank you. Carla Colton. And after that is Denise Alameen.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Carla Colton, and along with my husband Jim and the other Skip Mesa residents here, I'd like to say that I'm speaking regarding the Solvang Mesa Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District for fiscal year 26-27 and the continuation of assessments. Our residents in Skit understand the importance of maintaining landscaping, irrigation systems, and public lighting infrastructure. What many residents are questioning is whether the city is providing adequate oversight to ensure assessed property owners are actually receiving the level of maintenance and service that we're paying for. We're being taxed, and we want to know that the contract is being complied with. Over time, residents have observed recurring deficiencies throughout the district, including inadequate weed abatement, inconsistent edging and mulching, delayed irrigation repairs, overdue tree and shrub trimming, which also results in sidewalk damage, failure to replace dead or deteriorated plant material, and concerns regarding whether the minimum staffing levels contemplated under the maintenance contract actually spelled out in the contract, including the expected 3-person crew operating 2 days per week, are consistently being provided. These are not isolated aesthetic complaints. These issues directly impact landscape health, water efficiency, neighborhood appearance, long-term infrastructure preservation, and public confidence in how assessment funds are being managed. From what we can see, we have almost $500,000 in our fund that we've been taxed every year, the supplemental tax. Residents are also increasingly concerned about water costs associated with the 7 irrigation meters serving the LLMD. With rising utility costs and statewide water conservation expectations, the city should be proactively monitoring irrigation efficiency, the leak response times. Residents should not have to repair leaks that Brightview is being paid to repair. Okay, system performance and monthly water expenditures. Property owners should not be asked to absorb rising assessment costs without clear evidence that irrigation systems are being actively managed and maintained responsibly. Perhaps most concerning is the apparent lack of documented city oversight of the contractor's performance. The Brightview contract includes regular oversight responsibilities and bi-weekly meetings between the contractor and a designated city representative or monitor. That's in the contract. Yet many residents see little evidence that this level of active contract administration is occurring consistently or transparently. If these meetings are occurring, where's the documentation? Where's the proof? You know, we see it, we walk, like Cindy mentioned, we walk every day, and we see the lack of landscape, maintenance that's occurring. The council has a responsibility not only to approve assessments, but also to ensure accountability for how those assessment dollars are spent. And we'd like to see more transparent reporting. I do disagree, Cindy, that I don't feel that the residents should have to meet with the contractor or hound the city. I feel like there's a contract, it's clearly written, it's very specific on how they should trim the trees, how they should replace the vegetation and the landscape, the shrubbery and that. It's very specific language. And so why not they just comply with the contract? And why should we continue to award Brightview Company this contract when for years they have been failing to meet the standards of the contract? Thank you.
Ms. Denise Elamine?
Thank you both. I have been labeled here that I'm the only one complaining about Skid Mesa by the city manager, and he said he would no longer take my complaints regarding Skid Mesa due to, he labeled me. I don't know what my label is this week, but I really don't care. I'm here to say that I have a problem with Brightview, and I told Randy in an email that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And Randy said that he has no way to enforce what they do. So they do what they want to do, which is nothing. It's spelled out specifically in a contract. And I know contracts because I've had contracts. I've had to follow contracts and I've had to make contracts. And if you say that you're going to deliver mulch to a residence or to the Skid Mesa area 4 times a year, then that means 4 times a year. We don't get mulch. If we get it once a year, which we are now, what they did is they piled up enough mulch for one street, and it's like a picture there. We get to look at it, but it's not enough for the entire development, and it never will be. And they will just stop doing it because there is no one here at the city who cares because they don't live in Skid Mesa. I thought that, and I wrote an email to Mark Ifani because he's District 1, but he made it very clear to me that he is not my city council person. He says that he's just a city council who lives in District 1. So he can't help me with my problems either. He said it has to be at least 3 of you guys. So, and none of you guys live there. So my thing is that I can no longer complain to the city manager. I can no longer complain to Mark Ifani, District 1. And I would like to know, and I'm not going to be complaining to a company that's being paid $8,000 a month about what they're not doing. I need to know legally, what am I supposed to do when I'm paying $14,000 a year for absolutely nothing? And we are the only LLMD in the city of Solvang, the only one. All of the other developments that look like ours, the city pays for everything for them. They do the abatement, they pay for the lights, they have the water, and they look good. I looked at Nyberg the other day, and they look better than we do, and we pay $14,000. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom or anyone else in the audience that would like to chime in on this? Okay. I will then close it to public comment and bring it back to the dais for questions or comments. I'll have a comment with staff. The contract that we have with Brightview runs for how much, what's the term of this contract? Do you know?
I believe it's through December of next year, 2027.
27? Are they in default of the contract?
We're required to notify them that they are not providing the correct service, and we have recently done that. They've committed to, addressing those concerns, and that's only been a week or 10 days, so they have some time to cure.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that, Randy? When you notified the notice, did it include a list of the things that?
Yes.
Okay, so they have a outline of what they need to do to remedy. Do they have a time frame to remedy?
They have not communicated one to me, have they to you?
No, they haven't had a time frame, but we are withholding payment until they've completed everything on the list.
Okay. While we're on that topic, I did notice something I should have asked when I was asking questions. There's a map in here that actually includes kind of the green areas, and I noticed that there is an annual fire abatement sort of area, sort of an outline of what they're supposed to be doing. Are they doing that fire abatement? Because it looks like it's supposed to go all the way down to 246 to Mission, right?
There's a 10-foot wide.
Sorry?
There's a 10-foot wide
Yeah.
at the top and a 10-foot wide at the bottom, but the area in between is not part of that main. That's actually Caltrans property.
Okay,
So,
that's why, because I
yeah.
don't drive through Skip Mesa very much. You probably guys are happy that I don't go through there, or that a bunch of people don't thoroughfare through there, but I don't get to see it. But what I do see on Mission doesn't look right, but I understand there's easement, and then there's other things that it doesn't look like that fire abatement's getting done. So is that also getting done?
It will be. They haven't done it yet this year.
Okay. So I mean, if we also had some emails come in. There are other people who aren't here speaking. I think we have to listen to the people who do look at this every day and are disappointed with the results from the contract. It just seems like we need to increase the level of inspection. I'm happy to hear that we put them on notice, but let's give them a chance to react and respond. But it feels like we need to reevaluate how much inspection we are putting on their
Right. And we've had a
performance.
conversation with staff, so that's improving as well.
Do we actually have in the contract?
Microphone?
It's on.
I can't hear
Yeah, I need to be closer. Thank you. Do we actually have in the contract that we're supposed to be monitoring them or meeting with them on a regular
Yes.
basis? Do we?
Yes, we do.
Who's responsible for going out there and meeting with them?
Jonathan Flynn.
Okay. But he is going out and checking with them?
Yes, he is.
And he comes back to you, I presume, with the results of the meeting?
Yes. Yeah, and there's a checklist that they provide, a weekly checklist that they provide to him.
Of what they've done?
Mm-hmm.
But are we doing, sorry, I'm sorry, Mark.
No, it's does he verify that it was done, or is he just taking their word for it, I guess is the question.
Well, so as of late, since I've been involved, there's been a lot more. We've been following up a lot more with everything. And Brightview, one of the staff that they've had overseeing the project is no longer working on the project.
Oh, it's
because of
turnover.
our well, more so just because we do hear residents and we are taking their concerns seriously, and we do want to right the ship here as much as possible, and if necessary, we may have to end the contract if we cannot get the level of service that is needed. I will say that for the contract itself, the $8,200 a month for Brightview is roughly about 20 to 25 hours, labor hours per week. And it is a large area to cover in that in that amount of time. I'm not making excuses for them, but just so you have a little bit of an understanding of the breadth and depth of the the neighborhood
Yeah.
itself and what's required. When we did the assessment for the turf, as Francisco and Associates mentioned, that is 65,000 square feet, so over an acre of turf just in the parkway itself, and that's just for Phase 1 and Phase 2. So it's a significant effort, and I know that a lot of residents do a lot of help out a lot with the weeding and things like that in front of their house because it is.
Well, that's their responsibility, right? The homeowner's responsibility is the yard.
Please let him finish.
In the parkway, it is.
You talk about the parkway, not in front of the houses.
Right, yeah, so the parkways, and then as Elizabeth mentioned, there's areas, it's the third exhibit, or attachment C on this. You can see the diagonal line, like hatched areas, that's also maintained. So it's kind of that open space area along the park and the 3 parcels along Chalk Hill.
So we've got residents out doing work that Brightview should be doing.
Yes, at times.
Thank you.
Mr. Murphy?
Sorry, Bridget, can I revisit what I thought I heard you say? I don't want to make sure I got it right.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I already called on Mr.
Okay,
Murphy.
go ahead.
Mr. Murphy?
So I just wanted to share, Ms. Elamine is correct. I did tell her that I was not going to respond to her questions about Brightview. I invited her to talk to me about other things, but because she was the only one raising any level of concern about Brightview, and often her comments and concerns were incorrect, as she stated just now about the mulch being replaced 4 times a year. The contract does not say that. The contract says the mulch will be checked, and if it needs to be replaced, would be but it doesn't say specifically for it. I mean, those kinds of things. So in a sense, it became a boy who cried wolf, where she made comments often enough, and I publicly apologize to you, Denise. You were correct on this particular issue. We have heard from several other residents since I sent you that email. So I apologize for disregarding your concern. I promise to do better in the future. But I wanted to share that with the contract. This contract was brought forward March of last year. We had extended the contract from the prior December. The community knew about it just like they knew about this conversation. They were notified via the normal channels. We now have a newsletter, so we're doing a better job communicating to the community. The point I was trying to make is nobody, not even Ms. Elamine, came when we had that meeting in March of last year to extend the contract. So they were the least expensive option for maintenance. We had, I think, 3 or 4 bids, and so we extended the contract through December. I'm pretty sure of December of next year, and they were the least expensive. They did not have an inflator for the subsequent. There's no increase from one year to the next in their $8,500 or whatever that amount is. So to the extent we have to find another contractor, it's going to be more expensive. And, we are aware of the issue now. We're hearing the community and the neighbors there, and we've redoubled our efforts to hold them accountable. So this effort will improve for sure.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Arona.
I'm not gonna ask my question. I think what I will ask is a request, which is when we do those inspections, Bridget, and we're detailing reports or what the findings are when we do those weekly reports, can we collect that in the form of trending metrics so that when we say there are a lot of weeds, that's pretty subjective. We need something constructive to evaluate whether this contractor is performing, and where they're not performing, it will help us when we get either around to, having to withdraw the contract and find a new contractor. But that evaluation criteria needs to be, created and structured as a science as opposed to as much away from subjectivity as we can, so we can measure the performance. That would be my request. And then to make sure that that data gets collected so we can see it in a report format or a trend format.
Okay.
And it should be transparent.
All right. Anything in? Okay, I think overall, I think what we're trying to achieve is that we get full value for what we pay and get the services what we contracted for. What's on the agenda here is the budget for next year. So I want to bring it back. This contractor, we're holding them to task at this point forward, and we want our value for what's paid out. And we're also discussing whether or not we should go forward with the assessments for the coming year. Now, I think if we read back a transcript, I think Ms. Elamine said it was $14,000 a year. It's actually $1,400 a year, is it not? Not $14,000. So I'll correct that fact. It's $1,400 a year total for all parcels. So
Each parcel.
each parcel.
Or just, yeah, $14.79. It's going up about $43 from what they're currently paying, 3%.
Correct. Okay. Well, I know that's right. I just want to get factually correct. Now, going forward, is there any other discussion that we need for this that is necessary for the resolution that's in front of us?
So just to be clear, we are setting the details that will be disclosed in the public hearing, correct?
Yes, you're accepting the engineer's report and setting the public hearing for the meeting on June 8th.
Well, I'll move to adopt Resolution 26-1316. If there's a second.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept the Resolution 26-1316. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Rona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes, to accept the engineer's report. I have some concerns about the contractor, but that will be addressed, I think, separately. Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay. And then we're moving on to item 8B. If you'd read that into the record, please.
Adoption of the 2026-2028 City Council goals.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm here to talk about the goals for 2026 through 2028. And before moving into the list, I want to talk about why this work matters. Clear goals give staff permission to prioritize. Research on public organizations shows that vague, competing goals without clear hierarchy produce compliance and not results. Psychologists who developed goal-setting theory replicated in organizational research found that specific, difficult goals drive higher performance than vague goals or no goals at all. And the Government Finance Office Association encourages the inclusion of a strategic plan, a planning framework in the public budget document. Budget initiatives can be connected to how they support one or more of the key focus area, and that's how high-performing municipalities operate. This process reduces the goals from 33 to 10 top 1 priorities. And the object is discipline. When everything is a priority, nothing is a priority. Tonight's adoption authorizes how staff deploys city resources for the next 2 years. And we got here through a pre-session with Raftelis, with a consultant from Raftelis. She met with, individually had conversations with each of the council members as well as with the management team. And then there was a public survey, which yielded 219 participants via flash vote. And these results were presented at the session where council and the management team and the public were invited to have a conversation around the goal setting. At the February 7th session, with the exception of Councilmember Infante, all worked together to create definitions for key focus areas and identify corresponding outcomes. And council, not staff, voted on the top 10 goals. This is a presentation I made for myself to help me. We have so many things going on within this staff report and attachments that I wanted to keep us clear. There are 5 key focus areas, and they were council ranked as follows. First was housing and affordability. And the narrower focus was to ensure a diverse range of housing to meet the current and future needs. Second was reliable infrastructure, building and maintaining a reliable, sustainable, and connected community. Then there was community character, preserving and protecting what makes Solvang unique and special. There was holistic safety, creating a community that is and feels safe. And financial sustainability, responsible stewards of our financial resources. There were 10 priorities, and these were the top 1 goals for each of the key focus areas. And you will find those outlined in your staff report on page 2 of the staff report. Some of this work is already moving forward. The key focus area number 1 has the UBEC, the Urban Boundary Exploration Committee, a 13-member committee which is currently active, has had 2 meetings and has 3 meetings remaining. And a recommendation to council will come in August. The KFA 4 is the EOP update, the Emergency Operations Update. That one's currently active with Atlas Planning Solutions, and that's related to holistic safety as well, to adopt a workable evacuation plan and update an EOP with integrated community communications. There's also the goal for grant pursuits. Although staff had been working on grant pursuits implicitly, this particular goal brings it as an explicit Tier 1 priority. And also directly tied to that is the wastewater treatment plant and water infrastructure goals. And related to the wastewater treatment plant reorganization, there's active discussion with the Los Olivos Community Services District, and the USDA Rural Development Financing is in process. I want to point out a note about goal number 7, and that has to do more with process. Goal number 7 says to evaluate the sheriff's contract for transparency, value, representation, and return on investment. Tonight, the goal will recommend to adopt the goal as a framework and no action on the law enforcement provider. In 2 weeks, staff will bring an item to the council regarding law enforcement services delivery options. So, regarding accountability, 33 of the prior goals are all accounted for. In that last page of attachment B, all of the 33 goals are referenced and indexed. 6 are carried forward as Tier 1 priorities, 11 remain active as Tier 2 priorities, 6 are retained as lower tier reference items, and 10 are not carried forward. Tier 3 and below retained in the document for reference and are not recommended for active staff assignment during this cycle, but council can revisit any of them. Going forward, staff reports, budget requests, and agenda items will identify the relevant key focus area and make priorities visible day to day. Tonight's adoption precedes the budget development. Staff will use these key focus areas and 10 Tier 1 goals as the organizing framework for the fiscal year 26-27 and 27-28 budget recommendations. Without adopted goals, the budget decisions default to inertia, what we funded last year, or what surfaces with the most urgency in the moment. Staff recommends the adoption of the City of Solvang 26-28 goals as presented. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Mark, you went there. You should have the most questions. Okay. Thank you. That's a nice summary of what we did for the workshop, and those that were there, I think, would attest to that. Mr. Murphy?
I wanted to highlight one thing she said early on. If everything's a priority, nothing is a priority. She did a very good job summarizing Raftelis's effort and tying it together with the 33 goals that we had been working on, although technically we're only working on the top 16. Some of them, the lower down the list, like the newsletter, was completed, and that's why a few of those dropped off, is because they were done. The other thing I wanted to point out is the items on this list are going to consume most of the available staff time this next 2-year cycle. So the idea might come along to add a new goal, and I will come back to council and ask which of the 10 goals that you're adopting tonight get deleted or pushed further down the list, because it's a matter of having adequate time for us to be able to accomplish it and still have a little bit of home life, because otherwise we could be here 24/7 and not get it all done.
If I may, do we have a budget associated with each of these goals?
Not specifically, but we're building the budget around these goals, and pending a decision tonight, may make adjustments.
Thank you.
And as was mentioned, it is best practice for a city to identify its goals and strategic plan within its budget and within its budget summary ahead of its goals, so that the work is guided by these priorities.
I'm going to ask the peers to help me, because I had 2 struggles with this when I reviewed the top 10. And maybe it's because we narrowed, when we did the exercise, we had 5 categories and then we came up with 3 goals. But what we're reporting out is two goals in each category, not 3. But I remember that we put traffic and parking really with a lot of emphasis, and it didn't end up in this top 10. And I'm just asking everybody to help me remember, or to concur. Did we just let that fall off the list? Because we spend a lot of energy, and the communities constantly reminding us that in a lot of ways, parking and traffic doesn't work. And I was just surprised that it didn't hit the list. I mean, in my notes, Olivia, I had it as a number 3 in the infrastructure category. But I kind of don't want to leave it off the list. So I'm putting it out there to say, are we sure this is how we want to proceed?
That's correct. It's number 3 in the infrastructure goals. And again, these are for either adoption, and the second suggested recommendation in the staff report is to make changes or bring the item back.
And so are we going to stick to this discipline? So are we going to say, if we feel that that deserves more prioritization, that something has to give?
Well, I think we should do that at this meeting.
Yeah.
If that's what you think.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to get public comment now.
Sure.
If we may, we'll open it to public comment, either in person or in Zoom. I have one slip here for Denise Alamine for item 8B.
I got it. I'm sorry, I said 14,000 instead of 1,400. I didn't know I was before council who makes no mistakes. Excuse me, and I apologize. I won't make another one. I'm here because the last meeting on the 27th of April, and I think it's still recorded so you can verify, the city manager was talking about a loan that needed to be taken out to do the water treatment plant. He said it is in compliant, but we need to do some upgrades. So I don't understand that. But he said that they were looking into a loan for, and I'm hoping I'm close, $18 million. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but that's what I remember. You can look at the video for April 27th, and you can get the correct amount. And he also advised us that they were looking to get a grant from the federal government for $1 million. So and I know I can add correctly, 18 million minus 1 million will leave $17 million to upgrade our infrastructure. I've been here 12 years, and I've been coming to the city council, and this has been on one of our priorities for those years, and it's still not complete. It's still not completed. We have the highest water rates in this valley, and if anybody wants to argue that point, please tell me I'm wrong. And if we borrow $18 million to upgrade this, our wastewater project, then it's going to fall on the residents. $18 million is a lot of money because we only have about 7,000 residents here. And I don't want to do the math because I might mess up, but it's a lot of money that will be put on our water bills. People are having a hard time living here in this area due to the high costs. And this is a 2-year plan, and some of you, or maybe the majority of you, won't be here for 2 years. So the people who come in, they may have different priorities, which they probably will have different priorities. What I'm saying is that I don't know why we have 10 priorities. We actually need to get one done, and before we waste all of our time for 10. One would be where I would start and finish it and then move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody on Zoom or anyone else in the room that would like to share their thoughts? Okay, seeing none, we'll close it now to public comment and bring it back to the dais for either action or modifications.
I'm going to suggest we make a modification and put traffic and parking back somewhere in the list, and then I'm going to make one more suggestion is I also don't recall, somebody can correct me, but I don't remember us really talking about this priority connecting with our sister city in Denmark, and I struggle with how that drives value for residents. I had, when we were talking about driving more community and civic connection, it was more around arts and culture and creating more civic community things to do or events. And it was all around historic preservation and our brand. But if you worry that us spending time encouraging a foreign friend to spend time with us feels like a bit of a boondoggle. I don't know how it drives value for our residents. And so if that's all we're doing, I would rather trade that goal for something that's more meaningful for the people who live here, like parking traffic and becoming a Firewise community. I think that's meaningful.
I will chime in because I do remember I was talking about the Sister City program. Candice mentioned that this was already on the works. And I'm just going to mention that we just had the National Girls Choir come into our city. While I recognize that, yes, the history of Solvang and, the Danish founders is what kickstarted the city, I did think that it was important to preserve a cultural relationship with Denmark, because then we start forgetting a little bit where we come from, and cultural appreciation becomes cultural appropriation. And so I thought it was important to keep that connection. We have visits from the consulate. We've had visits from the royal family before that refresh what Danish heritage means in town, not just the fact that we were founded by Danish people, but that there is a consistent relationship. And personally, I think in a world that constantly gets polarized, it's important to keep our ties with our neighbors in a global level. But I understand that the concern, but that's kind of where it came from.
I have no argument with the putting a high value on it. I don't know that we put staff energy, time, and money, but you're prioritizing that over something else that maybe is it's something we value and something we care about and something that we do, but is it take priority over other things with their time? If it's in the top 10, I just don't buy in. I don't remember it. And maybe we did have consensus, but I can think of probably 3 to 5 things that might be more important.
Yeah, and I remember that traffic was a big issue, and I am sort of surprised that we're not seeing it on here.
Yeah, I'll chime in a little bit, because I do know that with regards to Sister City, I think it was more of a, how should I, our cultural roots, if you will, but we've already seen it as a positive when Ms. Arona announced the fact that we have the World Cup talking about us and including us into those items. I think those relationships stem and expand. So much like a family tree, it has other tentacles that go out and help in our own community in vibrance, if you will. And and I think that'll also expand to the Olympics and other things of that nature. So I think while it may not be Sister City, I guess it's strengthening our cultural and civic connections, not just to Denmark, but all our visitors for that matter. But
I think if we're going to talk about goals for the city, and the part of this, I asked about the budget. I mean, I don't think we should spend a lot of money doing something like that. I have no problem with sending off letters and things like that to our sister city, Aalborg, or talking to anybody like that. But for what we need to pay attention to and address, I would have to agree with Councilwoman Arona that that's not high on my list.
I will chime in, and I think the way that we ended up with this list has to do more with the methodology, because there were a lot of goals that fell into a certain category, and rather it seems like we have presented 2 goals for each category. So I think it's sensible to say, we want to focus on these particular areas, and these ones, we'll have them present, but we won't spend as much time on them. Maybe that's how we ended up with these.
It's okay. And part of the exercise drove us into these, sort of like, we might have ended up in a corner and not realizing now we get to sit back and say, are those really the 10? Because, and there was categorization of those 10. So it's our chance to say, did we get this right? Or do we want to make 1 or 2 changes?
It isn't parking and traffic, that's ongoing. I don't know if...
but the staff's going to take this as direction, right? Randy just said, this is where we're spending our extra energy. So if that's how we think about this in the frame of that, we're handing them these 10, this single page, that's where they're spending their extra cycles, then we need to be really explicit that either we do or we don't want them to spend time on that.
Mr. Murphy, how would you document that, or what? I understand what feedback you've gotten here. How would you reconcile all that?
Sure. Well, one thing I wanted to note about the discussion around community character, in addition to it being about the relationship with Denmark, from the discussion I remember this component being very relevant. This area emphasizes a sense of belonging and unity, ensuring that the city's brand and neighborhood aesthetics remain consistent, predictable, and a source of local pride. So there was, around that discussion of character, it encompassed a lot more than just relationships with Denmark. It encompassed the community feeling like they belong and like they belong to this identity that was established, which kind of runs through all of the different disciplines in City Hall.
That, I don't think anybody would argue that that's still a sentiment and it's a value we hold high, and that we want to have a sense of place, and the visual and the design characteristic of the city and its cultural roots all contribute to that. So then we ask ourselves, yes, do we put a high value on that? Absolutely. Is it a goal? When you define it as a goal, there's something of action behind it. So then you have to say, well, what are we doing? And to say we're going to strengthen our sister city relationship doesn't, I don't see the connection. I don't see an outcome that says we're giving our own town a sense of place because we're focusing, 5,000 miles away.
And the other thing is the design guide is there.
The design guide helps.
And that makes a lot of sense.
That absolutely gives me a direct connection to the value that you just pointed out, right? The design guide's going to give us, here's where we're working, right? And let's clarify those characteristics, and everything we do has to, really operate or live within those guidelines. That's easy to check off.
Let me make a suggestion that we move item 5 to an item
3.
11.
Yeah.
And add parking and traffic as number 5. But it under KFA 2, under infrastructure.
I think you need to understand, these are not in priority order. They're just numbered for
I understand.
reference.
But, here's the good news. Let me put this other bit of context and give you all a compliment, because the last time we did the goal setting, we had 30. And you guys worked those goals. I mean, you reported out on them. You worked them in, and we delivered some results. But you had a guide, you had a roadmap of what we wanted to go do, and you worked it. And I'm thinking of this in the same way, right? So if this is the roadmap, we should be sure we're giving you the right directions. And so I would agree that parking, I won't feel
if you
good
moved
if
it
we
down
walk
a
away and
notch,
say
I
parking
don't-
and traffic is not anywhere on this list. I won't feel good about that.
I would agree with the
We
mayor.
want you to feel good.
Yeah, so we can have 11 goals then.
11, we
Yeah.
could. Well,
Well, and for reference, parking was your number one goal the last time around.
yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, like I said, I think, can we table this for the changes and then bring it back, or should we go ahead now? What's your,
I think we have your direction. I think we're ready to go with this list of 11, adding traffic and parking as somewhere on the list, probably technically number 1. Like I said, that's what number 1 was last time.
Yeah.
So I would say we could run with 11.
okay. Any motions for that?
So I'll make a motion that we adopt the city council goals with an addition of one more to make it 11, so that we've got parking and
Traffic.
what was it?
Traffic and
And
parking.
traffic and parking. There you go. Thank you. And we'll go that way. I'll make that motion.
And I will second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the city council goals for 26, 28 with modifications of addition of parking and traffic. roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. We're moving on to item 8C. Would you read that into the record, please?
Adoption of promotional items policy.
Thank you. Staff report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. The proposed promotional items policy I have before you here tonight establishes clear guidelines for the purchase, inventory, and distribution of city-branded merchandise to ensure accountable use of public funds. And city-branded meaning the city side with the mermaid logo and the tourism side with the windmill logo. This policy is intended to support the city's public outreach. The policy limits distribution to official city business, including city-sponsored events like YieldFest, Bricks and Build, public outreach activities, and authorized conferences or meetings. The policy explicitly prohibits the use of these items for personal, political, or other non-city purposes. In addition, the policy establishes standards for the purchasing and oversight of these promotional items. They must be purchased through approved budgeted funds and comply with the city's purchasing requirements and display official city branding. There will also be a tracking system that keeps track of the inventory to ensure proper oversight. The policy also includes provisions to ensure legal compliance, including restrictions on the use of elected officials' names or images on publicly funded items. So staff recommends that the City Council adopt the promotional items policy to establish clear standards for the purchasing, inventory, and distribution of city-branded promotional items. The alternatives, you don't need to adopt the policy, and we can continue with current practices, or you can provide direction to staff, and we'll return with revisions.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I had a question. Would this also include trophies and awards, plaques, things of that nature?
No, it's more like, the keychains and stickers and thank you cards and
Swag.
Swag, exactly. Yes.
Okay. With the exception of clothing and hats that we use just for employees?
Yes, that is separate. That would not be
That would not be
considered part of
included.
this policy.
Okay.
And the line item is under city hospitality in the tourism budget.
Okay, but not, so trophies and awards, that would be a separate category?
Correct.
Okay, and not part of this policy?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have would this apply to, say, the Solvang map?
No, the Solvang map is something different. That one's actually done through the chamber.
Okay, so stuff could have the city logo, say, because the city sponsored it or something, but that doesn't mean that it falls under this category.
Right. It's not really in regards to the logo or the city seal. It's in regards to swag, that spot that's given away for free to promote the city or promote like tourism side or city side.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you remember at the State of the City, there were silver keychains in a little box with the mermaid logo on it. Everyone got one that attended the conference. And I know I like to use those things. I was at a second grade class giving a talk on Solvang, and Candace was nice enough. I had to pivot because it became they changed it on me, but had to do a audible. But they had little toy types of things and flyers that they were able to give out to the classes, the class that was being
So that's not
presented to.
appropriate then because it's not a city function.
Well, the city, and I was invited by the city was invited to share with them.
But it's
what-
not a
what we
city
do.
function.
It's not a city function. Neither is the well, there's a number of different things, but like when we host the retired group that was here a month ago, the retired County Employees Retirement Association was here in town. Those would be examples of what we might use it for when we're out there in the public.
I think actually moving forward with this policy, there would need to be a city nexus, like really, there would have to be a very specific reason why we are giving the swag out, since we are using public funds. So not everything that probably has been qualified as we've been moving forward with city swag, it would not continue that way.
So how do we differentiate when, say, the mayor or any of us are, representing the city, and in that case, it would be appropriate to distribute, swag.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Versus, any of us campaigning and giving how do you make the distinction of us, serving as city representative capacity versus us as, being in the charge that we are, but not necessarily representing the city?
Well, according to the policy, would be following, it would need to be city-sponsored first off. So it would have to meet those requirements. City-sponsored in regards to a meeting or conference, an event that we put on, something maybe that Parks and Rec puts on, but not necessarily one of us going to a school outside of a, like maybe, Cyclemania, right? We have Cyclemania coming up, and that's us in conjunction with Solvang School, so that would be a city nexus, where we would maybe provide swag if the school asked us. But if it was just us going into someone's classroom and we're giving a speech on being, part of council, that would maybe not necessarily count. Does that help clarify a bit?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it does.
Okay.
And
Any
it's,
other
it's also
questions?
very specific that there's no campaigning with any of
Right,
this,
correct.
with any of the swag.
Correct.
City
Okay.
nexus is a good definition. I think that's good that we have this policy.
I'm going to open it up to public comment. I don't have anybody on Zoom. I don't have any slips. I'll assume you have something to say, that you're now at the microphone. Miss Denise Salamine,
Okay.
you may
You're
proceed.
assuming correctly. Yes, regarding this, I'm glad you guys are getting very specific, because we do have the mayor with his app charging, and I'm assuming that he won't be able to do that. And we also have the trolley that doesn't pay the city anything, that takes up 5 to 6, maybe I'm wrong, let me go, 3 to 4 parking spaces, and is able to advertise on the trolleys here in Solvang. And I'm confused that if they're not paying Solvang any money, are they considered Solvang employees and they're able to give out swag, or are they not? So I'm very confused about that particular, I'm going to narrow it down to the trolley, and I'd like to know if they decided to give out free Solvang ice cream, if you rode the trolley, is that considered swag, or is that considered a business opportunity? And I'd like to know if the mayor's app that he charges certain businesses to be on, is that considered legal, or is that considered not, if that's not what this policy is talking about? Because I am just a resident and I don't have a business here in Solvang, so I'm not here to try to make any money, and I don't want to receive something from somebody and I'm not supposed to have it. Somebody could give me some swag and I can be walking in where I walk downtown, and it may be misconstrued that I am promoting this swag that I'm walking around with. So I'd like to have a little more clarification. It's not clarified good enough or legally clarified. I'll say legally. It's not legally binding or it's not clarified enough for a normal residence. And those are the things that I would like to have answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom or otherwise? Okay, I will close it then to public comment and move back to the council for further discussion or questions.
I have one more question, Candace. So to receive swag for a City Nexus event, swag being something that has a City of Solvang specific seal, emblem, or something that represents the city entity or public entity, not solving a name of a location, the city entity. Do they come to you? Who controls access to that swag? So is now because we're going to put a policy in place, and then to enforce the policy, we need a level of control. Is that how it will?
That would be me with the, obviously, city manager, and then there'd be the inventory, and we would document how much was taken out for what event.
Inventory is hard for swag.
Transparency in
That's going to
regards
be
to what we're
hard.
doing.
But if we have a single point of control, then you can actually make a decent attempt at controlling inventory.
Correct.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I'll make a motion to adopt the promotional items policy and establishes clear standards for the procurement, inventory, and distribution of our city branded promotional items.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to accept the policy as presented for promotional items. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Candace. Okay, we're moving on to item 8D. Would you read that into the record, please?
Adoption of Resolution 26-1315, waiving formal bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of 4 Chevrolet Colorado trucks from Rio Vista Chevrolet.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. Tonight, we're asking permission to replace 4 vehicles, 3 for maintenance and 1 for wastewater. These vehicles are anywhere from 16 to 24 years old, and they require significant repairs. Vehicle 619 requires $5,055 in repairs. Vehicle 634 requires $4,750 in repairs. Vehicle 622 requires $4,716 in repairs, and 631 is unidentified because we haven't gotten the quote back yet. And vehicle 634 has been removed due to those repairs. The replacement of the vehicles improves reliability and long-term fiscal sustainability. The 4 trucks would come from Rio Vista Chevrolet. The vehicles were offered at a base model pricing with upgraded specs of an advanced trailering system, bed liner, and 220 amps for the towing, and a high-low 4-wheel drive. The vehicles are offered at a government fleet rate that is given to the public agencies, and the immediate availability avoids the long lead times to replace those vehicles. If council adopts this tonight, we will sell the vehicles for an estimated revenue of, we have several ways to sell the vehicles. We can sell them at auction on the government deals website, and the auction estimate for vehicle 619 is $800 to $1,500, and the Kelly Blue Book estimate is $4,770 to $5,610. But the Kelly Blue Book doesn't take into account of the substantial repairs that each vehicle needs. Vehicle 634 can estimate a $1,500 to $2,500 sale on the auction, and the Kelly Blue Book is $4,060 to $4,635. Vehicle 622, the auction estimate is $1,500 to $2,500, and Kelly Blue Book estimate is anywhere from $4,870 to $5,720. And vehicle 631, because it's 2010, so it's the newest of the 4 that we're replacing, can estimate $4,500 to $5,500 at auction, and Kelly Blue Book estimate is $5,780 to $6,455. And with the auction, typically it can always generate more because it's an auction, and we did sell one of the city cars on auction, and we estimated that we'd get like $2,500 for it, but people got into a bidding war, and we ended up getting like $3,300 for a car, so we got more than what it was valued at. I talked to Steve, our representative from Government Deals today, and he said a lot of people who purchase the vehicles from the Government Deals are mechanics, and they buy the vehicles to fix them because they can fix them for cheap and then resell them. So there's a potential of earning more. With the city purchasing policy, the city policy requires council approval for equipment purchases over $100,000. It requires formal bidding, which is normally required for purchases over $50,000 unless council waives the bidding requirements with a 4/5 vote. Immediate vehicle availability and government fleet pricing support the waiver of approval. And the government fleet pricing is available at other dealers but would delay purchasing the vehicles. And Rio Vista is a local dealer. The financial impact to purchase the vehicles would not to exceed $167,000, and each vehicle will require light bars, and that will cost a total of $4,800, and the project cost is estimated at $171,800. It's funded through the City Vehicle Replacement Fund, and currently there's $1.695 million in that fund. And the way that vehicle fund gets money is when we depreciate the vehicles, each fund that those vehicles belong to, that depreciation amount gets put into the vehicle fund. So these vehicles have been fully depreciated for at least 15 years, and that money's been sitting in there for replacement. So staff tonight is asking for adoption of the resolution 261315, waiving formal bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of the 4 Colorado trucks from Rio Vista at an amount not to exceed $167,000. And with that, that concludes my report, and goes back to council for questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do have a question. Do we know the make and model of the vehicles that we are looking at?
Yeah, they're 2026 Chevy Colorados,
All of them
four-wheel
are-
drive.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So they would all be brand new vehicles?
Yes.
I'm curious, if I recall, a couple of years ago, a state requirement came out that all cities should buy electric vehicles if at all possible. We're not going electric?
We are not going electric. The Colorados are actually under the GVW requirement of 8,500 pounds.
Okay, thank you.
And the requirement kicks in for new purchases 2027 and later? Not this year.
We're sliding into, okay, got it, thank you.
And this number includes license and tax, or we're exempt from tax and license, or?
We have to pay a sales tax, and the total fee is $130.75 for like DMV. But we get exempt plates, so we don't have to pay registration on an annual basis.
Okay. And are there any sales costs, or is that net of on the auction? That's net of,
No, we don't pay any costs. The buyer pays the percentage.
okay.
It's like, I don't know, 3 or 4%, but the buyer pays
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Did you have a
I
comment?
just wanted to point out that any revenue we receive in the sale of the used or older vehicles go back into the fund. So it's replenishes. It won't be a lot of money. Might be, $5,000 to $10,000 total, maybe a little more, but that goes back into the fund.
And Wendy, who gave us the estimates on the repair costs?
Solvang Auto.
Wendy, what's the warranty on these cars, the new cars?
3 years, 100,000 miles, I think.
Okay, 3 year. And then what's the use, we have gone past the depreciation cycle, but what do we typically get as useful life for these vehicles?
Useful life on the books or useful life as in the vehicle? Like
The
actual
Because
vehicle?
it sounds like we're 15 years past a depreciation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is
So
that
we get,
typical?
we will get our money, well worth our money out of the vehicles.
Yeah, I wanted to hear you say that. Just, I know we're not bidding, but did we just make a call to the other local provider for an equivalent vehicle to know that we're getting best price?
Jonathan actually got the prices, but they're government pricing, so the government pricing is the same for like any dealer.
Well, I just noticed that we bought 2 Chevys and 2 Fords before.
Yes, so we bought, I think in 20.
We spread the love around. but
Yes.
Now we're not.
Last, was it 23, 24? We bought 2 vehicles, I think from Chevrolet. So.
Okay.
Okay. If there's no other questions, I'll open it up to public comment. And we have Ms. Denise Alamine to item 8D.
Yes, I was just surprised that you wouldn't do any further bidding and with another car dealer. I mean, that's basic 101. You find out whether you can get a better deal somewhere else. But I guess you are bringing it to the city council today because you don't either want to have time or you want to go with somebody that's close because this is an election year. I don't know. I don't want to say the wrong thing. So what I'm thinking of and why I'm looking at this is that we were told today that we were going to resell them through a bidding. We can get this amount of money, but none of that was listed in the paperwork. And I just have a problem with when people give the report and they say these numbers and it's not on paper. Why is that? When I make a mistake, you correct me right away. I would not know whether or not she was making a mistake and be able to correct her because why not? It's not on paper. It's just coming out of her mouth. And everybody's believing it. And like I make mistakes and said 14,000 instead of 1,400, you bet your bet. The people who give their thing, they make mistakes also. I'm not the only one that make mistakes. So I'm asking for transparency that maybe when we do sell and go with whomever we go with the person we don't want to bid anymore, we'll just take whatever he say, that you put the actual figures on the numbers when you report it back to the residents here because it's not free money. It's money that comes from our taxes. And I would like to know. And we're buying, like I said, I'm with why isn't it electric? We should all be going electric, but we have 6 months of not needing electric, and we're going to go with gas, and gas is almost $6 a gallon, and we have no way of knowing if it's going to go up any higher, but we're ready to buy 4 new gas trucks for the city. So I would just like to ask for you guys to consider another option, electric, or maybe get two from one dealership and give another dealership a try. But thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on Zoom or otherwise? Seeing none, I'm going to close it for public comment and bring it back to the council for further discussion and action. Mr. Murphy.
To assure the public, the pricing is, the state bids all kinds of stuff. And they bid vehicles, they bid services, they bid other types of equipment, and this process was carried out by the state. This was the contract price that Chevrolet gave, and Ford does a similar thing. They all bid on it, and this is a price that was guaranteed, as Wendy pointed out. We're getting it for the base model price, but we actually have a few options that they're not charging us additional money for. So all of that was publicly bid, but the state did it, and we're able to tag on to that process to be able to get that price.
Thank you. Okay, and Wendy, thank you. I do appreciate the additional feedback on resale and so forth. I asked the city manager earlier today for that information. I appreciate it. Gives me an idea of what the net will be at the end of the day. So appreciate that. Any other questions, or anybody wish to make a motion?
I'll move that we adopt Resolution 261315, waiving the formal bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of 4 Chevrolet Colorado trucks from Rio Vista Chevy.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 261315. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, finally, 8E on our agenda package. Would you read that into the record, please?
Introduced for first reading ordinance number 260395, adding Chapter 7 to Title 5, Public Health and Safety of the Municipal Code to prohibit public urination and defecation.
Thank you. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I'm happy to be here to bring you the really exciting agenda items for the evening. I'm informed that as a result of a recent incident, staff became aware that these activities in public are not currently illegal. And so either under state law or under the municipal code. And so this is simply an ordinance to make these activities in public a violation of the municipal code so that the sheriff can cite in those hopefully limited situations. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I guess my only question, how is it that it hasn't been on the books in the previous years? Or why is this part of our, I understand it needs to be done. I'm just saying,
As I said to the
this
city
is a big
manager
gap.
earlier, the legislature adopts approximately 900 laws that the governor signs every year, and it's hard for me to understand how this has never been on the list.
Okay.
But
All right.
that's what we discovered.
Well, the funny thing,
Priorities.
yeah, the funny thing about it is that I have been hearing stories of urination on the edges of the parking lots when we have heavy events over near the village collection. And it's just always been kind of a joke. We've never looked at it as trying to write a code says can't do that. I mean, I don't think we're going to have any cops standing around to see if anybody's never.
Maybe we should ask for some of those diapers to be adult diapers that are being handed out, but Mr. Murphy.
I was going to say, I don't think number one was the issue here. So it was a very unfortunate set of circumstances that it came to my attention, and I promptly notified our city attorney that we needed to get this code on the books.
Well, it gives us the option. That's all we
Okay.
need.
If there's no other questions, I'm going to open it up to public comment if they dare on this subject. Is there anybody on Zoom or
looking up in the ceiling.
if there's no other
Dennis, you
comment?
don't want to talk to.
I will then close it to public comment. Seeing none, bring it back to the council for discussion. And I really think this is a no-brainer. I'll make a motion to approve or introduce for first reading ordinance 260395, added to chapter 7 to title 5. If there's a second.
Can we just say ditto?
Can I just say number
No,
two?
Just please make it formal. I appreciate that.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Infante.
Yes.
Councilmember Claudia Rona.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Elizabeth Arona.
Yes.
Mayor Brown.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
thank you. Going to item number 9, any council closing comments? But after that, do you really want to say anything? I don't know. We could, no potty jokes, please, so. Okay, then, if there's no other issues before the council, we are adjourned at 9:08. Thank you very much, everyone.